Hello, everyone. So glad that you are here joining me for our live training of Deal Driven and real estate investing in general. Hey guys, I'm only seeing myself on the screen right now. If you guys could do me a humongous favor and turn on those cameras so I don't feel like I'm just stuck here all to myself today. Thank you, John. Thank you, Miss Paula. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate it. It's like we're all in a room together a little bit, right? So super glad to have everybody here, rip roaring and ready to go. So the goal for today is number one, for me to help you in your real estate investing business by showing you ways that you can use our software, DealDriven, to really drive your real estate investing business. Also, because I am a real estate investor myself, I am willing to give you free advice. Right. So it's not like the 5-cent palm reader. I've done a little over 1,700 real estate transactions, anywhere from wholesale fix and flips, sub twos, owner finance, sandwich lease options, land, single family homes, commercials. So I would love to teach you any questions that you may have, and how do you utilize that with Deal Driven? Because one thing here at Deal Driven is this was built for investors by investors. I am one of the owners of this company, and literally the reason why it was built is because this is the stuff I needed. I didn't want to go pay, 3 or 4 different places to get the same information that I needed to get my deals done. So that's why I put it all in together in one fashion. Also, one thing that I'm very proud of is the pricing for our software is literally 10% to some of our competitors. I also wanted this software to be attainable to everyone. As when I got into real estate investing, I'll tell you, I didn't have much money to spend on anything, right? So I wanted to be able to use that with everybody. So as you're popping on, turn those cameras on, be proud of the face that God gave you. And if you look under reactions, you will see this button that says raise hand. And that's raising your Zoom hand. So I'll be able to answer questions. Again, this special training webinar is brought to you by Deal Driven. So it's all about Deal Driven today. All right. So we got our first question here. Mr. iPhone with the awesome beard. Take yourself off mute and I'll be able to help you.
Oh, I'm just got in. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I just brought the program probably about maybe half an hour ago. So I don't really have no questions. I was just going to listen in.
Okay, got you. So remember, this is the software Deal Driven, not a program like Partner Driven or somebody else's program. Which is good.
So I need to be off of it then. Okay.
No, you don't need to be off of it. It's great training. You're going to be using Deal Driven to get your deals anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Everybody's welcome. Right. Okay. All right. So let's get this started off on kind of a discussion of where we think maybe the economy is going to go, or where real estate investing is going to kind of go into 2023, and how Deal Driven can help you. So if everybody's noticed over the last couple of years, raise your hand if you've seen your real estate market go crazy. People are paying above what properties are go for. They're flying off the shelves. People are paying more than what properties are worth. Guys, we are not trending that way into 2023. Who else has seen a slowdown going into next year? Now, I'm not saying I'm excited about these things, because obviously I don't want our American people to be struggling with anything. I want people to get as much money for their properties as possible. But let me tell you something. Sometimes there are prime opportunities in life. And as a real estate investor, you're looking at it right now. So I really suggest that if you're thinking about real estate investing, You can utilize this software to help you take it to the next level, because this is the time to get it done. Okay. You do not want to be sitting here at the end of next year going, man, I wish I coulda, woulda, and watch everybody else get the good deals. Right. So generally in real estate investing, you're working with motivated sellers, people that need to sell their home. Okay. So that may be where cash comes in. Well, for those of you that do creative strategies in real estate, you'll see that people are wanting a higher price for their house, but they're willing to accept terms. You are seeing literally the seas collide. And if you're not prepared, you're going to miss on a huge opportunity for you and your family. So what I would love to do is work with a few of you guys today. And guys, by the way, I'd rather this just not be me talking. Okay, so raise those Zoom hands. Let's ask some questions. Let's have some real conversations, because that's how we all learn, right? So keep in mind to go ahead and raise those Zoom hands with questions. So what I want to do is I want to show you, if I were to pick one of your markets, what are the things I would be looking for utilizing the software? Would anybody love to be a volunteer to work with me? Come on, who doesn't want free marketing advice?
Yes, I'll work with you.
Okay. Okay, so let's get started. Who's the first person that spoke? I can't remember. Was it
Edward.
Arthur?
Edward.
Edward. Okay, and we can do this a couple times, guys. So I want to show you. So let me get DealDriven up for you.
Okay.
Or up for me, rather. All right, so what I'm going to do is, once you have logged into the software, meaning I've already logged in, here's where I am seeing the main screen. By the way, we are offering free trials. So if you would like a free trial of this, Chloe, put that in the chat so you can check this out. Okay, so number one, here's the thing I want to look for. I want to get an idea of what's available in your market, Edward. Okay, to see that,
Okay.
I need to look at a few things first. So where are you located?
I'm in Pembroke Pines in Florida, South Florida.
Oh, I know, right above Miami.
Right.
By the way, I've done lots of flips in Pembroke Pines and quite a few condos and townhouses there. And I already know you're in a great spot, but let me show you why. Okay, so one thing about Pembroke Pines, Florida, is you're starting, it's a very, very nice area, but Miami is something else. I mean, it could be very expensive in Miami. Pembroke Pines is really nice too, but it's if it's okay to say, the blue collar working class area. You get the benefits of Miami, you get the benefits of everything. And it's a lovely place to live. So let's take a look at Pembroke Pines. First, I'm going to go to my search screen and type up Pembroke Pines, Florida. So what you're seeing right now is you're literally seeing the city center of Pembroke Pines, which is going to be where like the courthouse is and the downtown area. Generally, that's the center of any town. If you'll notice on the far left here, you'll see different colored dots. I'm going to try to make that bigger for everybody. Orange will be your pre-foreclosures. Purple will be your vacants. Blue will be non-owner occupied, meaning they own a property that they do not live in. Then we've got auctions, cash buyers, tax delinquents, out-of-state owners. Okay. So theoretically, Edward, let me take this back down to where I can look at this again. May have to go back because I made my screen so big. Give me just a second. Sorry, I've done messed myself up here a little bit. Excuse me. Hey, it's all right to fail forward, right? All right, so we're going to go to City Center of Pembroke Pembroke Pines. So when you're here, what it's doing is, if I want to look at a good investment neighborhood, here's an easy way to look at this. If you see non-owner occupied properties, what does that tell you guys? That maybe they're rental houses, right? Because they own a property they don't live in. Or where he lives, it's a good Airbnb area, right? Where there are vacation rentals that people sort out. So if you're wholesaling, right, or you're flipping properties per se, or you're buying them sub twos because you're looking to rent them on the back end, or do rent to own, lease to own, generally speaking, the more blue dots that you see closer together, the better that the area is. Does that make sense, Edward?
Yes.
So I'm going to go do a little searching and go find some of these areas that I'm looking for. Okay. Wow. Right here, you've got a bunch of stuff. Do you see all the blue dots in this area? I'm sure these are condos to some degree. You want to go look at some areas where you're seeing tons and tons of blue dots in these areas. Once you do that, you'll be able to look there. The other beautiful thing is right from here, I can even like go down to the street. So let's say I just want to go see what this little house looks like right here. I'm going to go here and I'm going to go virtually. I guess Google does not cover right there in Pembroke Pines. So these virtual searches are based off of where the Google vehicles have drove around to. So let's see if that's available now. Guess that's a weird area. Not seen that before. But essentially, you can search these areas. Generally, you're going to be able to go back and actually see those homes. But I want to show you, Edward, some of the best leads to pull there. What type of investor are you right now? Oh, you're on mute, sweetie.
I am a brand new purchaser of your software. I'm just getting my feet wet. I don't know what I am.
Okay, got you. So are you probably starting wholesaling, maybe flipping houses?
Wholesaling, I say. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So when you're wholesaling properties, you're looking for properties that are motivated and that have equity, because equity is where the profit comes from, right? Okay. And also, if Edward's wholesaling, he's putting a property under contract. And when you put it under contract, you actually have equitable interest into that property. He is not selling a house. Only licensed real estate agents and or brokers can sell other people's houses. Edward would then be selling his equitable interest in the said property to a back-end buyer. I just want to make sure I'm clear there with that, because I don't want anybody to get in trouble by using the wrong words, right? So let's go find some good things for Edward to work. So I'm going to go to the nationwide using search filters. We're going to go ahead and look at Pembroke Pines. I want to do a 20-mile search radius around the city center of Pembroke, okay? Because that's pretty big. He's probably going to pull up more than just Pembroke. Hollywood, Florida, this is like even into Fort Lauderdale. This is not too far for you to travel to do a deal.
No.
Okay. I'm telling you that I know it's not too far away from each other. And I'll travel pretty far for a good deal. All right. So do we really want to sit here? Should Edward sit here and call and work every person within 20 miles of where he's at? Absolutely not. It'd be an absolute waste of your time, I guess, unless you were selling telephone books, which we don't do anymore. So we're going to go list stack here. So number one, here's a good list for you, Edward. I want all the vacant properties. Okay. So if a property is sitting vacant down in South Florida, does anybody think that's a great idea?
If it's vacant in South Florida,
Yeah,
no, it should
pretty
be
humid.
working.
It's
Yeah.
pretty humid down there. Nobody should leave their house vacant. I promise you that. Because
Mhm.
within 3 or 4 months, mold will start to set in, the whole 9 yards. So that's the beauty of working a vacant property. Now, I want to stack my motivation here. So not only do I want it to be vacant, but I want the owners to be out of state. So they own a property that they don't live in, out of state, that is sitting vacant. Here is a list of 568 at this point. Well, knowing that you want to wholesale properties, and knowing Pembroke Pines, you're going to want to go after townhomes and condos there. There's a lot of condos and things in South Florida. Do you see how many? So even if we take condos out, you're at 674. I'd go after duplexes, triplexes, and quads. Row houses are more like a northeast thing. Now, again, if you're looking to wholesale, would we want someone to owe what the property is worth? Knowing that the profit comes from the equity? Absolutely not. So why would I spend my time, if I know I'm wholesaling, why would I spend my time calling people that owe what their property is worth? Remember, equity is the difference between what someone owes on their property and what the property is worth. So I want to go here and say, I want at least 35% equity or more. Wow, you still have 672 properties around you right now that are vacant, and the owners don't even live in Florida. Once I want to show my results, it's going to take me here. Now, if you'll notice too, there's lots of different price ranges, and knowing that something is vacant, knowing that really when you're wholesaling, I would want to be at more of a mid-range price from Pembroke Pines. So I wouldn't really want to call on this $2.6 million. You're probably not going to get too far with that. Edward, what would you say like medium income level there is on a house price? 350,000? So I want to go back to my search results, and I want to change down the pricing here. So I'm going to go and say, God, you know what? I don't want these properties to be worth more than 400,000. Now, we're with this list stacking ability, he's able to go after the best of the best of the best of the motivations without ever driving there. So from here, I can select all of these, right? Create a list, and I'm going to call it Super Hot Edwards list. You can call them whatever you want to, right? Also, a new feature added, which I'm absolutely in love with. Let's say, Edward, 3 months from now, you want to go pull this list again, right? You know that things change over time. So if I'm pulling the same list every month, I can actually exclude all of the properties that are already in list already. You'll want to do that, guys, if you're pulling lists in the same place over and over again. That way, every month, you're getting the newest properties in those lists. So they go from super hot to super duper hot, okay? That way, because DealDriven updates every day, and it's associated with the tax records. So anytime there's a change in the tax records, you'll want to know that, because that means an event has happened. So right now, I'm building a list. So once I've built this, the systems go back and saying, give me just a second, I'm compiling my list. Once you see this button go blue, boom, you are right here. This is the entire list of Edward's super hot list. Now, when you're going through this, there's so many things that you do with this list. Okay. Ed, what do you think you would do? Like, as you're new getting into wholesaling, is your job to contact these people?
Yes.
Absolutely. So
Definitely.
what are ways to contact? Knock it on the door. He's like, no, I don't want to do that. Maybe you could call them. Maybe you could send them a piece of mail.
Or
Maybe you could
postcard.
text them. All of this can be done straight from here. Okay. So let's look what's available right now. All right. So Marvin Norman, and he's actually in Miami. It's this is the detail sheet. So this is where we're deriving the information from the local tax records. This house is 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,500 square feet, built in 1960. Now I'll tell you, the tax records are probably wrong. This is a pretty big size house to only be a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. So probably over the years since the 60s, they probably added some things. Okay. We also know that the valuation's about $350,000 on this house. So if you look here, the valuation confidence score is 95%. So the National Title Service has deemed this property that they are 95% positive that this house is around 350. Okay. From here, you can go and get a Google Street View. Let's see if there's one available for this one. See what we come up with. Here's an overhead view. Here's a street view of this house. Pretty cool, right? Also, you could go to the owner's detail. From here, let's say you wanted to text them, Ed. I can get the phone number and the email for this property. Let's see if it comes back with one. Through skip tracing, and check this out. We've got 3 phone numbers that are associated with the actual owner of this house. Also, we have their email address. Here's some email addresses that were literally associated with this individual owner. This individual owner is Norman, or Marva Norman. Here's their mailing address. Heck, they live in New York City. So it could be like a vacation rental, or maybe their winter house. I'm not sure, but you can essentially do this for an entire list. You can also send mail to that list. Do y'all know what I used to have to do this? Go to the courthouse, pull the records, look all the owners up one by one, skip trace them one by one. You could do what would take me a week in like 1 minute. So when people say, God, I just don't know that I've got the time to be a real estate investor. You got the time, I promise you. It's a lot easier than it used to be. That's why technology is so impactful. I hope that helped, Edward.
It did. I just want to run it over a couple more times to get a gist of it.
Okay.
But my question now is, after we've done all that and we've spoken and the person decides to do a deal, do I get some help from you guys at that time, and how do I access that help?
So I want to make mention that this is DealDriven software training call. Are you referring to another program you're in?
Probably. Yes. Probably, yes.
Okay. So are you a partner at DealDriven?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the answer to that. Absolutely, you get all of those things. They'll walk you through the deals one by one by one.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Okay.
if you weren't a partner, I would say you would need to get your own contract. You would need to build your cash buyers on the back end. You would need to get the house under contract so that you could assign it to an end buyer. Make sense?
Yeah, a little.
Go back to your welcome email inside of Partner Driven. And you'll be able to see how to get on the coach's corner or on the live daily training calls. Just because this software is available to more people than just Partner Driven. So I don't want to take up their time explaining, you know what I mean?
Got you.
Or email support if you don't have it, they'll take care of you, hon.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, yes. All right. More questions. Donald.
Yes. So I've been playing around with it for a little bit. So I've been getting a lot of good searches, but I want to look at some pre-foreclosures. So how do I go about which stack do I go about doing that pre-foreclosures?
I have a decent memory. Are you in Boston, Massachusetts?
Around in Boston, yeah.
I can't believe I remember. Good. All right. So he lives in Boston, Massachusetts, and he's wanting to know about pre-foreclosures. Always clear your search before you start because it's still remembering stuff from my other search.
Okay.
So pre-foreclosures is once someone stops paying their bills for their house, right? The mortgage company has given them something and said, you know what? I'm giving you this money, but your house is coming up as collateral. I am now defaulting as a seller. And the act of pre-foreclosure is whenever that bank has went and filed a lawsuit in Boston and said, you know what? I'm going to file a notice of lis pendens or notice of default because the seller's not selling. Well, you're like, well, how do you know that? Because it's a lawsuit, it is public record. Okay. So what I can do from the actual software is go in and pull everybody in his area that is in pre-foreclosure. Because if you're flipping a house, if you're doing creative financing, you think somebody that's about to lose their house back to the bank is a motivated seller?
Of course.
Absolutely. So we can go in as investors and buy it prior to them losing it back to the bank, sometimes put a little bit of money into their pocket so they're able to move on to the next stage of their life in a better position. Instead of a foreclosure being on their credit report for like 7 years and being a scarlet letter that they walk around with. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Donald, you may have known that, but I just want to make sure I'm explaining everything when you guys ask questions for the benefit of all.
Of course.
Okay, so I'm going to go to Boston, Massachusetts. I'm going to go ahead and stay a 20-mile search radius around the city center. Then I'm going to go to pre-foreclosures here under the search type. There's 819. I want to look at the single family homes, townhomes, condos, duplex, triplex, quads. I don't remember if y'all have row houses. I don't believe so.
No, I never heard much of it anyway. So
yeah. If you're a flipper, somebody that flips houses, buys them, renovates them, and resells them, you would want an equity filter on here. Okay.
Okay.
Of at least 35% or more. If
For
you
wholesaling?
Flipping and wholesaling, yes.
Okay.
Because that's where the profit is. So you want to put 35% or more.
Okay.
You still have 746 of them. So you'd go show results. From here, we will create an entirely new list. We'll call it Boston, Mass. And then I would put, oh, what did I do, Julie? Sorry. Boston, Mass, and I would date it today's date. And here's why you want to do that, hun, because you're going to go at probably the second week in January. I'm going to want you to go pull this list again. Okay. Because new pre-foreclosures come out every month. So you really want to start hitting them as soon as they come out. Right. But when you go to pull this list in January, I want you to confirm and build this list first. Next month, when you come to do this, I want you to pull it again, date it for January, and click this exclude properties already added. that will get you the brand new pre-foreclosures coming up.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay. So when I search for it again, brand new stuff will come out, and then when I make a list, just exclude the stuff that I already added. So
And I would redate it just so you can, stay on track, because
so
after
like,
you start pulling a bunch of lists, you're going to be like, boo, you know what I mean? Like you
like
start forgetting.
So every 30 days is a
Yes, but I'll tell you, generally the notices come out. I don't know what it is in Boston, but it's generally about the first 2 weeks of a month. So I wouldn't wait till the 22nd of next month. I'd go till about the 12th, probably.
so like every 2 weeks at least.
Well, they come out once a month. So the thing is, like, that you would want to do right now is go and see when the auctions are. Excuse me, go and see when the auctions are for the state of Massachusetts. I just don't know. Like for me in Georgia, it's the first Tuesday of the month, right? So I go pull my list the day or two after the first Tuesday of the month. And then that's when the new ones come out. And see, people are going to walk away with more money right after. I mean, as soon as you get them from the lawsuit, you'll be able to help them a lot more. That way you're catching them at the very beginning and you're calling them before your competitors are calling them.
All right. So what would be a good time for me to like read, get a new list, like every 2-3 weeks or so? Like,
and well, it's once a month. So first, figure out when the auctions in your state are for foreclosures.
okay.
It's going to be the first or second day of the week every time, over and over again. We probably could just Google it. You know what I mean? And then a couple days after that date every month, you'd want to re-pull this list again to get fresh new leads coming in.
Oh, okay. And what about valuation? Does that matter as well?
It is. So valuation is what the property is worth. Okay.
So what's the maximum should I go for? Like at most, I don't want to deal like $1 million, but like something at a good number. Like what would be the max?
It really doesn't matter what the number is when somebody's about to lose their house to foreclosure.
Okay.
However, I would say that sometimes when you start getting to these really expensive homes, they might be in foreclosure, but they probably have ways to get themselves out of it. Whereas somebody else in more of a blue collar area doesn't have the same opportunity.
Okay.
So I would think, and then that's a personal preference. And it also depends on what your exit strategy is.
Okay. All right.
Sounds good. Great questions, Donald. Thank you for joining us 2 weeks in a row.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Ron Weeks, I have a quick question.
Okay.
You did say as far as equity, where it says at least, you just put like 35 there, 35 there, and that would pull up the properties that are at least have 35% equity.
Yes.
Okay. And as far as okay, so you pick which ones you want. You get what about the time frame, like as far as the notice of default date? Should you go back 3 months or are you looking for the most recent?
I'm like me personally as an investor, I work them at all stages. Okay. However, it's the best benefit is for someone to get help immediately in this situation. Okay. So can I show you some easy buttons?
Sure.
Is everybody seeing my screen? Let's go back. What's your city, hun?
Los Angeles, California.
Okay. So we're going to go 20 miles around the surf center of LA.
Uh-huh.
And do you see where it says notice of default with no auction date?
Yes.
Okay. So when somebody first gets the notice of default, okay, they're in pre-foreclosure. An auction date has not been set yet, meaning that they're in the very beginning stages. Okay. So you could literally just put notice of default with no auction date, and that'll get you the brand new ones.
Gotcha.
Or you could say single family pre-foreclosure auctions that are 30 plus days away.
You know what? My software doesn't have, maybe I need to update.
You do, because Ben just wrote entirely new things to help you with all of this. So it's easier. So you have these easy buttons.
How do I update?
Log out and log back in, and it'll say, update me now.
Oh, okay. All
Hey,
right.
Marina, are you on? Chloe,
Yes.
could you take over for like 3 minutes, please?
Yeah.
Okay. And if anybody has any questions, Tyler, I know you're fairly new, but would you just help me for a few minutes? I'll be right back.
So how's DealDriven going for everyone?
Good.
That's good. Is the software helping you guys find deals and stuff?
Still trying to get used to it.
Yeah, it's a learning curve for sure.
Right.
But if you do need help, like learning stuff for DealDriven, this is a good way to learn. And we also post all of our trainings that you probably didn't attend, but we post new videos every day on our YouTube channel that will probably help you learn more about DealDriven.
What's the YouTube? Because sorry, hi. The information, like the calls sometimes are a little tough to make. So just if I'm driving around or whatever, it would be easy to have access to like the YouTube's on call. Is it just DealDriven for everybody? It's like public information, or is there a specific?
Yeah, all of our social medias are just DealDriven. So you can just type in DealDriven, or I can get the link really quick and put it in the chat if it makes it easier for you.
Yeah, sure. Great.
I'll get our link tree. It has all of our social medias on it.
Oh, okay.
Awesome. I'm back. Thank you guys so much for being patient with me there.
Oh, he made that easy.
Well, like somebody's at the door and I'm in the back of the office, so they're just butt beating at the door, and I'm like, ah. All right, Tyler, what questions you got?
Oh, hello, everybody. Well, the question I had, I was just going to chime in too, just off that last question.
Yeah.
I'm new. I'm within about a month of actually utilizing DealDriven, but what I was doing when I was pulling lists off DealDriven is I set up an off-market pre-4 and an auction list, and then I just added into those, so I knew specifically what they were. So the last question, I don't know about the YouTube, what you're talking about, but DealDriven is where I typically have found, or that's where I build my list. The question I had though is I just started a couple days ago importing my list from DealDriven to Deal Engine. Are they essentially, can you build a list in Deal Engine, or is that just utilized for importing our list?
Yeah, that is literally a CRM.
Okay. So that was kind of my question, is if you could actually, not knowing all of the applications in Deal Engine yet and how to utilize them, if it was possible to do that. But it looks like you do all the research on DealDriven.
Yeah, we do. And two, like, just remember, Tyler, this is literally just DealDriven. So not everybody that's in here is a partner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, but I mean, you can just call me.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Steven. Honey, I think you're on mute still.
There we go.
There we go. Winner, chicken dinner.
How are you, Julie?
Good.
And everybody in the group? Yeah, just a quick question. A little while ago, you mentioned about becoming a partner. What does that consist of, and how do I do it?
Okay, so if you would like to be a partner, Chloe, if you'll put this in the chat, she'll give you a link and you could be scheduled with one of my team members and they'll go over everything there. Okay.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that would work. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And also now in DealDriven, I haven't got that started yet, but even though I'm going to here probably even today. But in DealDriven, you do the like the comps and stuff like that there, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's everything you need.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, whenever we put this together, I'm like, I need something to where I don't have to go to 5 different friggin' websites to find everything I need. So it's all the tax
Absolutely.
records, their phone numbers, the comps, the previous histories, all searchabilities. Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to find. Yeah, I've
Now,
been with a couple
let me
other.
just show you if you want me to. I'd rather show you.
Okay, yeah, I'm in Lakeland, Florida.
Okay. Let's go to beautiful Lakeland, Florida. All right.
Yeah, you're fixing to get slammed up where you're at, or even calling snow in your area.
Honey, it's supposed to be 8 degrees tonight. Like
Oh
I'm
my
not
God.
even prepared.
No, I
My
can
blood's not
imagine.
ready for that.
We're gonna have like 39 here.
I know, and you're close to Tampa. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm going to go to this one house right here. And
Okay.
I'm going to go virtually, okay? Because I
Okay.
wanted to show you this feature that I could not make work in Pembroke Pines for some reason. But I wanted y'all to know it does really work, right? So you can drive up and down the streets to see these properties. So you could actually do like virtual driving for dollars.
I know right where Line Street is in Lake Avenue.
So like you could do all this from home while it's cold outside this weekend.
Absolutely.
So let's say this particular house right here, okay?
Okay.
And you could just search this by typing the address, press identify.
Uh-huh.
And here's the information. Now, I want to go look into this house a little bit more on East Lime Street. So this is not really an investment style property. There's nothing that leads me to believe that this is a distressed home, but for
Right.
this purpose, I want to show you this.
Okay.
All right. So one, when you're looking at the comps, evaluation is considered a comp. So it's
Right.
somewhere between 220 and 240. Okay.
Okay.
So we're saying it's probably worth about 227. Then I can go pull comparables over here on the right, because we want to make sure that we are looking at apples to apples and not apples and oranges, right?
Right. Right.
So do you see, like, the closer that they are to this area, the better they're going to be,
Absolutely.
right? Also, like this one, it sold for $310,000, but it's 1,400 square feet, where your house, this one house we're looking at, is 900 square feet.
Big
So
difference.
you don't want to compare that house.
Right.
This one is, let's see, 1,000 square feet. Okay, now we're getting closer, right? It's a 3-in-1. Yours is a 3-in-1. Our lot size is 0.14. You could see this up here.
Uh-huh.
This one's a 1/4 of an acre instead of a 1/4 of an acre.
Okay.
But I guess it wouldn't be a 1/4. It'd be 14% of an acre.
Right.
So that's why this one sold at 270, which makes sense that the valuation on this one's 227.
Uh-huh.
This one's 816, but it sold for 300. Now you're probably like, well, Julie, that one's the same size, same bedroom and bath combo, but it sold for 300. Why is mine up here not selling for 300? I could tell just by the way the roads go, this is a whole different neighborhood.
Right. Exactly. It's across the main highway.
Yes. So if
Where
I
two
were looking at,
highways.
if I were looking at comps for this house, I'd be wanting to pick these.
Uh-huh.
So when you're pulling comps, you want to make sure you're comparing apples to apples. Location. Also, depending on what parts of the nation you're in, like in Florida, they love stucco down in Florida for some
That's
reason,
right. That's
right?
right.
A stucco house in Georgia is worth a lot less than it is in Florida. So I can't compare a brick house here to a stucco house here. A brick house is just generally going to be worth more than a stucco. The year built, especially your bedrooms and bathrooms, and the square footage are things you should be looking for when you're comping a property.
Right.
Also, word to the wise, a lot of you will call a real estate agent, right, to give you comps. You need to know how to comp anyway, because they might not know those things. Do you know what I'm saying? So
Right.
you don't want to make a buying decision from an agent giving you a comp if you don't know how to comp things in the first place. That's how people lose money in this business, is because they don't understand values correctly. Just because it's in the same neighborhood doesn't mean it'll sell for that. Is it stick built? Is it concrete built? Does it brick as opposed to siding and opposed to roof details, things like that?
When you're pulling comps, do you just go ahead and just check them off and then somehow delete them, or how
Yeah,
can you?
I click the ones that I think are comparable.
Oh, okay.
Like on this one, let's say I thought, like I might pick this one, right?
Right.
I'm going
Okay.
to click that one. And this is in any scenario, you could click this one. And it's going to average your price out at 290.
Okay.
But I'm telling you, by looking at that, those are not comps to your house.
Right. Basically what you want to do is get like the square footage, don't you? I mean, is that
Square footage and bedroom and bathroom. Like a
Right.
3-bedroom, 2-bath is a lot more desirable than a 1-bath.
true? True.
Now it's a 900 square foot house. You're probably not going to be able to squeeze another bathroom in there, at least on a full
No, I
bath.
doubt it. Right. I doubt it.
I don't know. These tiny house folks, though, they've got it figured out.
Okay.
Great questions. Okay, we got Jose something H. Or Brian Moore. Unmute yourself, Brian.
Hey, Julie, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I was wondering, once we do our direct mail, the campaign, how long does it take for those postcards to go out?
Probably hit their box in 7 to 9 days.
Okay, 7 to 9 days.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. That I was wondering about that because I'm doing direct mail and postcards, and I just trying to wait on some response.
Okay. Also, there is a delivery. It'll tell you when they've been delivered.
Oh, that's on the on the
Yeah.
software. I haven't seen that.
So you would go back. Let's say I sent postcards to these, right? I'm just going to send a direct mail piece to this house. And this is a good thing to teach people. Let's say I want to send this to them. Start mailer.
Okay.
Got to watch my accounts here. First, you have to set up a signature for everyone. Just going to leave this like here. You can save this and add this here, and then you can go back. And we're going to wait just a second here. And what'll happen is, when you look at it and it says that you can preview them.
Yes.
It'll say that it's been completed. Otherwise, go ahead and email support@dealdriven.com and ask them if it's been delivered or how long it takes.
Oh, okay. Because I didn't see anything that would show a confirmation. Because it says it gives you an option to edit, and I'm like, well, if I'm able to edit it, has it went out or?
I mean, that's a good question.
Yeah, because all of mine still says male active.
Hey, Chloe, will you get on, please? Unmute yourself.
Mhm.
I want you to get Brian Moore's information in the chat. I want you to call and get an answer for Ben and get back to Brian, please.
You got it.
Thank you. Hey, thank you for your business. I'm not really quite sure how to answer that, but I do know who to ask to get it to you.
Okay, thank you
If
so much.
if that's helpful, but we do value your business, Brian. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yes. All right, James.
Hi, Julie. How you doing?
Oh, better than I deserve, man.
Cool. This is the first time I've been on your webinar here. First time experiencing your software here. Here's a question I want to ask you though. So right now, since the market is changing and everything, and interest rate is going up and things like that, are you making any kind of adjustments to ARVs now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because the ARV, like just at our company alone, we bought a property that needed a $70,000 rehab in Florida, right? We actually lost 40 grand on that house and we flipped it because it took us 5 months to exit the rehab and for it to close. And then literally the market changed that much in 4 months. The appraisal didn't come through.
Right.
So unfortunately, we decided to just take the hit and move on. Because the worst thing you could do in real estate investing is let pride take over, right? So I would, when you're talking to sellers, I would adjust to ARVs. And also, it's been a little bit market specific too right now. Like there are certain markets right now, like if you talk to realtors, here's a question I would ask.
Okay.
What's the average days on market? How much inventory is there? If they're telling you, oh man, the average days on market are like 60 days right now. You know what I mean? We've got more inventory. We've got more inventory than we actually have buyers for. That's a bad sign in the market.
Okay.
However, in some markets like that we're flipping houses in, I talked to 3 realtors before we make a decision.
Okay.
They're like, well, man, there's not even another house like this one. It'll be gone in a week. You just got to make sure when you're talking to real estate agents and or brokers, you're not talking to a yes man. Do y'all know what I'm talking about there, James?
Right. Yeah. Agree with me. Tell me what I want to hear.
I hate that. I'm like, don't agree with me. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong, you know? So I'd love to answer that. But for me right now, it's a little bit market specific. I'll tell you, we're doing lots of flips right now, but I'm also really, really pushing creative financing and doing a big push on that, because the more properties that sit on the market, the less buyers that can be approved for homes, is the longer these houses are going to be sitting, because the buyers can't afford to get these loans anymore. So sellers are more apt to sell their homes through terms as opposed to cash. So as an investor, I like to do all these strategies just so that I can, almost like I walk in like a tool belt, depending on what they need, I could base my offer based off of that, which can be a little difficult. That's taken me many years and lots of money and education to learn those things. But that's my answer to that question. I don't know if that helped or not.
Yes, it did. Great. You gave some good insight there. However, what I've basically been doing like 10%, deducting around 10%. Now my agency, that's a little bit aggressive. It should not be 10%. But what I'm doing is reducing the price by 10%. Sound like what you should have did around 10 to 20%, huh?
Well, I'll tell you, Tampa, Florida got hit a lot worse than like Philadelphia. You know what I mean? Like Philadelphia, we've still seeing things fly off the shelf there. And Tampa, like they're down 25%, plus they had a hurricane. It ain't good there right now. Like I said, it's all market driven. So we tried to look, we tried to do that. But if you're flipping houses, you aren't going to win every time anyway. Not if you've done enough, because if you've done enough, nobody wins every time.
So,
And-
so what you're saying is that the length of time that it stays on the market sort of would gauge you how much to reduce your price by. If you got 10 to 30 days, and then the price can stay higher than 90 days. For 90 days, you got to drop it more than 30 days.
Well,
It's
not
sort of-
only that, like if you go to buy a house to flip it and you're going to get a hard money loan, right?
Correct,
Hard money loans are what, 9–10% interest?
correct.
You've got water bills, power bills, landscaping. Your holding costs eat your profit. So the longer you're in a deal from the time you list it, the less profit you're going to make anyway, because the holding costs are eating your profits away.
Gotcha.
That's why, like a lot of times in this business, a lot of investors get out because they're like, nope, this house is worth this. I'm hanging in there for my price. Well, that's all good and fine until you're sitting there 8 months from now and you're negative because you've been paying interest payments. Because also on a hard money loan, the payments are a lot higher, and that's got to come from somewhere.
I got the head. Yeah, I got the head.
He's got the head, whatever that means.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. But thanks, James. Great question. James, or no, that was you, James. Duh. Okay. Anybody else? Let's talk shop, guys. Don't be afraid. I love to help anybody. Fidel? You there, Fidel?
Yeah, okay, I'm here. Welcome, Julie. This is the first time. I've just started a couple of days ago, and I'm actually just barely going through the modules. But someone earlier was talking about pre-foreclosures and regarding that theme. So I do have a question. So if you are able to talk to a homeowner who's on pre-foreclosure and you struck a deal, what happens to the remaining mortgage? Who ends up having to cover that? Or, I mean, can you explain that a little bit? Or, I mean, I know
Yeah.
there's a lot of foreclosures here in you know where I'm at. I'm in South Texas.
Yeah. Okay. So let me see. I did have a statement that I was just looking at. I don't think I'm going to be able to find it. Okay. So generally in a pre-foreclosure, you're going to have a reinstatement amount. Okay. And you're going to have an amount that they owe. The sooner from somebody gets with you, like on the pre-foreclosure side, the less the reinstatement fee is. The reinstatement says the bank's telling this, and I'm explaining it all to you because I think you'll understand it better. So a seller like can get themselves out of pre-foreclosure by paying off the reinstatement amount. Okay. So let's say someone went to pre-foreclosure and they have a reinstatement amount of 10 grand. Well, to get themselves out, they could go to like their mama, dad, cousin, sister, brother, friend, and that could catch them back up current. So they're not in that stage anymore. Okay. Generally, when you're buying a house out of pre-foreclosure, if you're buying it in cash, which is way different than a terms deal. On cash, let's say the house is worth $200,000. Okay. And with the reinstatement and their loan, that they owe 110. Okay.
Right.
So then you come in and you're like, let me buy this house. You're going to have to move out, but you're not going to be foreclosed on. And I also want to try to see if I can give you a little bit of money to, you know, take you on the next stage of your life. I'm going to show you the math on this. I don't know how else to explain it than for me to just show you.
Right, because there's some instances where that homeowner, I mean, they have their back against the wall and they know they're going to lose their home. I mean, out of a job or sickness or whatever, but they just say, well, you know what, I'm just going to let it go.
Yep.
And offer them, sad to say, pennies to what they owe, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, whatever it is, for them to walk away with something rather than just to lose it out. I mean, there's still a debt on the mortgage. Who ends up with that?
I'm going to show you.
Okay,
So are you seeing my screen like of a Word document?
correct.
Okay. So on here, let's just say that it's worth 200,000. We're going to just to make it easier. We're not even going to talk that it needs any work. It doesn't need any work.
Correct.
Let's say they owe $105,000. Okay. Generally on this deal, here's what would happen. Okay. Is you would take your 200,000 times 0.70. Times 0.70. So I'm going to get 70% of what it's worth. And that's going to be close to my offer price. Okay. So you're going to take 200,000 times 0.70. And that leaves you that you could purchase this property for $140,000. Okay. You still with me?
Yes.
Now, there are closing costs and things like that that are associated. We're not going to look at that now. But theoretically, this $140,000 purchase price at closing is going to pay the bank off. Okay. It's going to pay this 105. But that means even in a pre-foreclosure, the seller would make 35,000. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Because if you're looking at 70% of what it's worth, I know my offer is 140. Now, if it needed 10,000 worth of work, you would then need to subtract that off. But once I paid the bank off, I could still give the seller 35,000 and this deal would work.
Okay.
You want to know how much profit you'd probably make?
Sure.
You take 200,000 times 10%. That's going to cover all your real estate commissions and closing costs. So that's 20 grand, right?
Okay.
So now you're at 180 net minus the 140. So on a deal like this, you'd make close to $40,000 on a house that somebody's about to lose their house. They would get 35 and you would get 40.
Okay.
So that's kind of how the numbers roll out. Now, obviously these are blank numbers, and there's other things, but when you say, when I go to sell it, if you account for about 10%, that's generally what's going to cost you, unless it's like unless the renovation is too high and it's going to take longer.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Great question, man. Thank you.
No, thank you.
I like good ones. You're like, how much money shall I make? How much are they going to get? Those are great questions.
Thank you.
And see, you wouldn't believe how many people lose their house and it's on their credit for 7 years and get $0, because you better believe that bank's going to eat up every bit of that equity, every bit of it, between the time they serve to the time they auction it off. Why are you so important, Fidel? You're stopping the banks. Banks don't lose. You're stopping the banks by helping your fellow neighbor get out of a situation that they may not be able to get out of without your help. And they get 35,000 and you make a profit. It's a win-win. When you can make it a win-win for everybody, that's truly a great business.
And it doesn't go in their credit report because there was no foreclosure.
No, I mean, they'll have some missed payments on there,
Sure.
but you can solve that in a year. You know what I mean?
Right.
A great
Thank you so
question.
much.
Yes. All right, Lori.
Hi, yes. Hi. So I have just a few questions because I guess like you mentioned earlier, it's market specific, kind of where to start with. And I have I guess just a curiosity to see if you've gotten any feedback in California. I'm in the Bay Area. And so I just wanted to see if you have
I have feedback in Modesto, Turlock. I have an office there, but not the Bay Area like San Francisco.
Okay. So
but I'll tell you, in Turlock, days on market are longer, but I'm still flipping houses there all the time.
Okay.
Now, so I just don't think, like, I couldn't include Sacramento and Turlock and Modesto in the same boat as the Bay Area. I mean, even though they're close, they're like different worlds completely.
Yeah.
Right. So are you trying to decide what type of back end structure you want to do?
So yes,
real estate investing is good in any market. It's your exit strategy that matters.
So yeah, I'm a partner and I came in specifically to do fixers. However, as I've taken some of the, I guess, feedback or coaching, I've been advised kind of to veer from fixers and kind of focus more on wholesaling. However, it's still a little bit, I don't know. I would love to do fixers. Honestly, that's kind of where I am at right now, but I know that.
Can I ask you this?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you want to fix so bad if you make the same money?
Well, I prefer to just, the quicker turnaround, of course. But
believe it or not, it's an opportunity for you in another way.
Okay.
And by the way, I own the company. I'm not steering you for flips.
Yeah.
It still can do flips. But if we can make 30,000 on a deal, not touching it.
Yeah.
Or 30,000 on a deal touching it, I'm going to take the 30,000, not touching it all day long, because it protects you and me.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go out and find more deals instead of spending your time on that one. That's truly the answer. But we'll do flips all day long. Heck, I think we're closing on 9 between now and the 31st of this month.
Okay.
So I'm not doing it, but I don't have a deal in the Bay Area right this minute that I can compare it to. But but in no way, shape, form, or fashion am I saying don't do flips right now. It's just, it wasn't like it was 6 months ago where almost anything flew. You got to just be a little bit more careful.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess that's kind of the second part of my question, the parameters for the fixers, if anything, because wholesales and I don't know if maybe my past experience is kind of getting in the way or if it's helping me, because the last wholesale that I did was in 18. So I'm kind of getting back into the groove of things. I've been following the market this whole time, but I haven't been active. And so right now it's I keep questioning myself on that. Like, am I, getting hindered and by the fact that, I keep kind of going back and comparing it to my past experience, or is it, more of an asset? Because
your past experience, you had to go find the cash buyers to move them to.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do that here. We pre-list the properties too.
Maybe I haven't gotten to that part. Yeah, because that's kind of where I've been a little.
Hey, can I say this to you, Lori?
Yeah, please.
This is for DealDriven, so I can't talk about partner driven
okay.
on DealDriven's time. Do you know what I mean? It's a hard thing for me to do because I want to talk to you so much.
Okay.
I'm going to I want you to call me.
Okay.
And because I want to tell you some things that I don't want to say in front of everybody.
Okay.
Is that okay?
That's perfect. Yes.
All right. That's my cell.
Okay. I'll text you in a little bit, but thank you, Julie.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And guys, on behalf of DealDriven, we wish all of you guys a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, everything else. Remember to be thankful for what we have. Everybody on this call, I can tell you that if you're here, you have so much more available in your life than a lot of people in this world. So be thankful. Thank you for being here. And DealDriven wants to thank you for your business. We really do appreciate it. And guys, I will not be here next week. I'll be there the week after. So I won't see you till after the first of the year because I'm going to Puerto Rico on a trip. But I'll see you next year. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. Be safe. See you soon. Bye-bye.